Hi guys, I'm 4070 manager. If your 14th gen CPU chip constantly hit 90 degrees Celsius, you are in the right video, probably. If you can stand watching the intense fight with a few playful bloodsuckers. Aren't they cute? I see a lot of 14th gen gamers out there looking at your temps, seeing 90 or 100 degrees Celsius and immediately panic. You start googling best 360mm all in one cooler, or tearing your case apart to fix the airflow. You think you built it wrong. I was right there with you. I looked at my i5 14600KF and thought my Corsair H100 was failing me. Wait, what? It was a gangbang? Bloodsuckers use static? I was shot left and right. Someone gave this tool a promotion. A gold badge for being so professional. This is going to be fun. Okay, where were we? I also thought the PANO M100R case had bad airflow and management. But here's the secret. The cooler isn't the problem. It's our motherboard. It's over-ordering voltage into our CPU, like a manager who doesn't know the inventory. I did a little audit check on my MSI BIOS settings. On the default light load mode 22, during Cinebench 2026 run, my CPU was hitting 100 degrees Celsius peak and thermal throttling. Actual gaming 90 degrees Celsius, it was drawing 1.377 voltage, which is way too much power for the job. I was only getting a Cinebench 2026 score of 5037, while the EDS score of this specific chip is 5400. The CPU was so hot it had to slow itself down just to stay alive. So I stepped in. I went into the BIOS and manually adjust the CPU light load mode to mode 12. This isn't a complex undervolt. It's just choosing a more efficient management style. I look at the after report. My Cinebench 2026 score jumped to 5472, which I will show you halfway through the video. There's a 10% raise in productivity for free. Temperature dropped to 93 degrees Celsius peak with no thermal throttling, and much lower in actual gaming, which is 75 degrees Celsius. By giving the CPU less voltage, I actually got more performance. My 240mm cooler was fine all along. It just couldn't handle the motherboard's over budget voltage settings. If your 14th gen chip is running hot, don't buy a new cooler. Check your light load settings. Stop letting your motherboard provide excess weightage that your CPU doesn't need. Now, not every MSI board starts at mode 22 like mine did. If you have a high-end Z series board, your factory default might already be lower, like mode 9 or 12, because those boards are built for better efficiency. My B760M Gaming Plus starts high to play it safe. Before you change anything, go into your BIOS and look at what your light load mode is currently set to on auto. That is your starting line. Write it down. Instead of jumping straight to my mode 12, I recommend the -3 mode rule. Whatever your default is, drop it by 3 levels. If you are at 22, go to 19. If you are at 12, go to 9. Run Cinebench and check your temperature. Keep going down one mode at a time until you hit your limit. If your Cinebench score starts dropping even though the PC isn't crashing, you have hit clock stretching. That means you have gone too low. Go back up one mode. We want the most efficient management, not a budget cut that hurts productivity. I'm using light load mode 12 because it's stable for my specific chip. If you just started trying to find your sweet spot, start at a higher mode and test it. If your CPU temperature is still too high and Cinebench score isn't improved, just go lower down the mode. It's about finding the lowest fuel your specific CPU needs to stay cool. Now, I'm on a MSI board, so my PC uses the term light load mode. If you are on Asus, Gigabyte or ASRock, don't worry, the FPS department has you covered. Look for a setting called IAAC load line. It's the same math. I've put a translation table near the end of this video so that you can find your specific brand's version of this fix. If you don't have light load mode, look for IAAC load line. Most motherboards set this to a high number like 1.10 megohm by default. Dropping this to 0.8 megohm or 0.7 is usually what gives you that 15 degrees Celsius drop without losing FPS. Many Asus and Gigabyte board default to 1.1 megohm, which is very hot. Moving from 1.1 to 0.8 is a huge drop that is stable for almost 99% of CPU. Every CPU silicon quality is different. If your PC crashes or blue screens, simply raise the value by one step. For example, if 0.7 crashes, go to 0.8. If MSI Light Mode 11 crashes, go to 12. Your goal is to find the lowest number that keeps your 1% low FPS stable. The ideal voltage for your CPU is the lowest possible voltage that does not cause blue screens or system crashes. Also clock stretching, where the CPU appears to run at high speeds, but performance in Cinebench score drops because the voltage is too low to maintain the signal integrity. Basically, we should keep voltage in between 1.15 to 1.29. By the way, where goes all the enemies? Vanish? Hello? Hello? Okay, if these bloodsuckers in the beginning are going to be this professional, we need our CPU to be just as stable. We can't have micro stutters during a high stakes meeting with a mutant squad. Let's look at the BIOS to make sure our 1% low stays as sharp as their claws. And this is my MSI BIOS setting. As you can see, by default, it is using Light Mode 22. Look at my Cinebench 2026 score, 5037. For an i5-14600KF, this is a failing grade. It is performing like a much thicker CPU because it's fighting for its life. Look at the core thermal throttling. See that red yes? That is the BIOS screaming stop. It's throttling because the temp hits the limit. This isn't a cooling problem. It is a voltage problem. At default Light Mode 22, my board is pushing 1.377. My goal is to get this down to the 1.2 range. Let's see how the CPU temperature behave in actual gameplay. And just a quick show of all my settings. Basically everything is on epic. I only turn off the motion blur and depth of field. Notice that 91 degrees Celsius. This is not cool. By the way, our bloodsucker here has a good posture. What? You need coffee break? This sure can do better. I'm not cool with the 91 degrees Celsius performance. Something need to be done, and changing the light mode is the way. Thanks for your performance, Mr. Bloodsucker. I appreciate that. To change the light mode, we go to BIOS setting, click on overclocking settings, go to advanced CPU configuration. Under CPU light load, choose the mode you want to set. In my case, it is mode 12. After that, go to settings, save and exit, and finally save changes and reboot. After switching to mode 12, my Cinebench score jumped from 5037 to 5427. That is nearly an 8% increase in raw power just by using less voltage. The most important part, thermal throttling is now no. Every single core is running at full speed without the motherboard pulling the emergency brake. Look at the maximum column now. Instead of hitting a flat 100 degrees Celsius wall, my peak is 92 to 93 degrees Celsius under the most extreme synthetic load possible. In real-world gaming, this translates to a comfortable 70 to 75 degrees Celsius. Notice the voltage drop from 1.377 down to a maximum of 1.292. We trim the fat, we are getting more work done with less budget. This is the actual gameplay setting at Lite mode 12. Let's observe the lower CPU temperature while maintaining the high FPS. Stop making video about your FPS and farming on Earth. What, you are talking? If you are not happy, call your manager. Look, I'm the Stalker. It's clear that I win this one. R.I.P. This is the performance we are talking about. Less heat, more stability, more bloodsucker, more loot. And remember guys, in case you are wondering, lowering the voltage isn't weakening your PC. It's just removing wasted heat. It is 100% safe and officially supported in the BIOS. If the voltage is too low, the PC will just restart, no damage done. With a little try and error, you get a free cooling upgrade. Tested in Singapore 33 degrees Celsius ambience weather. If it works here, it will work anywhere. Thanks for watching. I hope you like this video.